One of the coolest watch brands out there, especially for dive watches, is DOXA watches. They're a Swiss watch company. They make really cool watches. They got legends in their history. So today we are going to take a look at my new Sub 300T. So before we get started here, if you could just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. It is the way that we could grow this channel. Also, leave a comment on what you think of this watch and your opinion of the brand DOXA down below. I would greatly appreciate the feedback. That said, thank you in advance. All right, so now as we get into this watch, I really love the brand DOXA. I think it's something that is very unique in the way that it looks. You can tell a DOXA the moment you take a glance, where some of the other dive watches, they kind of blend in together really easily and they don't necessarily jump out at you as a unique looking case. With that said, it's not all rainbows and sunshine with me for the aesthetics of the watch, and we'll get into that in a second here. But DOXA as a brand has this very cool vibe and a very cool connection to a couple great explorers that I actually love. First is Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau wore a DOXA. That was his jam. I know that he's been attached to another watch brand or something to do with his name in the industry. I don't care about all of that. What I do care about is when I see Jacques Cousteau wearing an orange dial DOXA on the wrist, I think that is very legit. The other is an American author who initially was a sales guy that made a fortune in sales and just hated his life. So his wife one time basically told him, look, stop complaining. Why don't you quit what you're doing? You got enough money. Go do what you love. So Clive Cussler said, well, I've always wanted to be an author. So he became an American author and wrote tons of very cool adventure novels. Along with those novels came a lifestyle to follow. That lifestyle is all about exploration and treasure hunting and finding sunken treasure ships. And he and his team basically have very much been a legitimate part of the discovery process when it comes to underwater exploration. And that holds a lot of credibility as well. Now today on my wrist is a yellow dialed Sub 300T on the bracelet. This is a very cool watch. I actually really like it. But there are a couple things that I wish were different. We're going to go over those before I get into how great everything else is about the watch. First up, there is so much polish on this watch. I really prefer a brush. I would prefer you brush everything on this. I don't want any shine on any of my dive or tool field watches. There's a little too much shine for me. It kind of like gives me the impression that they're going for something nicer than a utility-based dive watch. Some people might like shine. That's great for them. For me personally, I'm not a fan of that. So if we are going to make a defined, fine, kind of nice watch, I think the in lugs to the bracelet could be a little bit more developed. They're just kind of chunky. They don't really flow with the case of the watch very well. It's almost like this awesome bracelet that is the most comfortable bracelet that I've ever worn on a watch, just kind of falls off the end of the watch. They needed to really follow the curvature of the case when it comes to these end links a little bit better, just to make this a smoother, almost looks like it's part of the watch case connection with the bracelet. Going back to the case, the bezel turns, here, listen to this. That's very nice. The bezel sounds and turns very nicely. It is a good feeling bezel. You could tell that this bezel is actually a workhorse bezel. The lettering is a little small. I get it. It's only so big, but maybe a larger dial inside would give a little bit larger bezel, which would allow a little bit better or easier way of reading it. The other thing actually I wish I would have done to the case was drilled lugs. I think that drilled lugs would have been perfect on this watch. It takes away of the finish maybe a little bit if you're going for that, but when you have a real utility kind of look going on your watch anyways. Drilled lugs actually complements that look. But other than that, I really love this watch. Those are really my only two critiques. I do have one other small critique. I bought the rubber bracelet for this watch as well, and this watch looks amazing on the bracelet and on the rubber strap. So either or you can't go wrong with, but this rubber strap is 400 bucks. The reason it's 400 bucks is because you cannot take the clasp off of this band and use it for this rubber. So you have to buy a separate clasp as well. Maybe that should have been a better design in that. I don't know. 400 bucks for a rubber strap seems a little expensive. Guess what? I spin it and I love the watch on the rubber strap. So I don't know. Now this watch on the bracelet is classic DOXA, and this bracelet, like I said earlier, is the most comfortable bracelet that I've ever worn on any watch. But inside this case is a mechanical automatic self-winding movement with a power reserve of 38 hours. I wish that were greater. I don't know why we're only doing 38-hour power reserves anymore, but we are. Frequency on this thing is 28,800, and it is a 4 Hertz movement. The movement is decorated by DOXA a little bit, but it's all concealed in the case with a hardened case back, so you're not going to see it anyways. It's all stainless steel. The diameter of this watch is 42.5 millimeters by 44.5 millimeters. The height is 13.65 millimeters. There is a screw down crown and a screw-in case back that gives a great 1,200 meters of water resistancy. There is a 3-hand movement with a date complication on this timepiece, sapphire crystal, and DOXA's famous helium release valve. The bracelet is stainless steel, and they call this the beads of rice bracelet, and it feels very comfortable, like beads of rice. I really love it. The lugs are 20 millimeters on this watch, so you can replace with a lot of other straps. Like I tried a NATO style strap on this before, but it really looks best on the factory rubber or bracelet. As we take a look at this watch on the rubber, you'll notice it's the same deployment class as what's on the bracelet, and this is an outstanding ratcheting wetsuit extension. It's probably my favorite in the industry, probably the best in the industry as well. It is an FKM rubber with the 20 mil lug width. It's pretty easy to adjust. It's pretty easy to make sure it's all dialed in for your hand. They have holes on the side here, and you just kind of cut which hole is appropriate for your class. But at this price point, don't screw it up. So if you're not 100% like confident that you're going to do it right, take it to somebody like a watch dealer or a watch service center and just let them do it. Give them the 10 bucks. It may save you 400 bucks in the end. All right, let's talk a little bit about this dial. It's like a muted yellow. Orange, they say, is the best visual dial underwater, which is probably true from everything that I've seen, at least orange accents. There's something special about this yellow dial. I absolutely love it. It looks super nice. I love the way they muted the color of it. It's not like the sun ray type patterns that they put on these watches. It's just a very flat looking, easily readable dial, and I love it. If you want to buy this Sub 300T on the bracelet, which I actually recommend always getting the bracelet if it's possible for you, and there's such a minimal price difference in these two variants, you might as well just get the bracelet. So if you want this watch on the bracelet, it's going to cost you $2,190. If you want it on the rubber, it's going to cost you $2,150. So for a few more bucks, just get yourself the bracelet, save your pennies, get yourself the factory rubber later. In the meantime, if you absolutely cannot run this watch on the bracelet, get some NATO style straps, pick something up aftermarket, but you will be happy with both of these or either of these variants. Buy it on the bracelet, buy the black rubber later, or buy it with the yellow rubber right off the bat, and you got a great looking watch. Guys, you can pick up the Sub 300T or check out the entire catalog of the DOXA lineup, they have amazing watches on there. There's probably 4 or 5 watches that I want like right now in my collection. at DOXAWatches.com. It is a very cool brand, and I think that you're going to love whichever choice you make for it. But for now, that's it for me.